tools that help speed up the hiring process. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
7:38 Team Hochberg traffic center time and Jim.
The travel time has gone up on the inbound Kennedy with delays between Cumberland and Central and between Belmont and the Burnt Circle. It's 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 18 from Montrose, 12 in the Express. Outbound 22 minutes downtown to the airport. Heavy Bryn Mawr to Canfield. On the inbound Eisenhower, delays start before the tri-state. It's 40 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 25. Stevenson, 33 minutes from the Veterans Memorial Tollway to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 22. Ryan, 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 12 minutes. I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford, 19. Delays start around 115th. And northbound Tri-State, the ramp to the outbound Eisenhower's. Otherwise, the tollways look great. That's traffic. I'm Jim Calamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, morning rain or snow shower. Then snow develops through much of the area through the afternoon. Up to 1 inch will fall in our area south of I-80, a little more, high near 40. 30 overnight, and a freeze update for tomorrow night as well with a low of 31. 37 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
Mike Madigan runs the Democratic House floor for 30-plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said when you're moving out.
Pitchy. Woo.
Speaking of moving out, this is interesting. San Francisco Chronicle did an exit interview.
Oh, really?
With a young couple who have recently decided to head out of California to Atlanta, Georgia. And you think, oh, well, the cost of living, taxes too high, the relative barrenness of places not named Silicon Valley. The couple said the final straw came last year when California voters rejected Prop 15, which would have raised property taxes on commercial property to help schools and local governments. The decision to underinvest in the public infrastructure that is particularly important to families raising children in California makes living here such a hard bargain. No, I don't.
Finally waking up. Yeah.
Public infrastructure, the shadow infrastructure, the infrastructure that evolves with our aspirations, that infrastructure. Well, it's funny because they're moving to Georgia, and California spends a lot more money on K through 12 education than does Georgia. California has the country's 8th largest tax burden relative to income. Georgia ranks 41st. But, the point here is to lie to yourself so you can maintain your ideological disposition. But I wonder how leftists in Illinois who and other blue states who don't have children, who can't make this spending on public infrastructure argument with respect to schools, at least, I wonder how they rationalize it. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined for our weekly conversation with Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoint, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
Yeah, they weren't upset with the tax burden and the quality of life they were getting for what they were having to pay out. They're worried about investment, which is why they moved to this state that has significant less quote-unquote investment, meaning per pupil spend on K through 12 education. The rationalizations abound, and I guess that's what rational people who pass an Econ 101 course and are not, dyed-in-the-wool ideologues have difficulty fathoming.
Yeah, it's easy to rationalize lots of things, and everybody's getting really good at it, and that's why we have so much double speak and double thought. So it's not surprising. You're reminding me of I was in Florida, as I mentioned recently, and I met this guy, Andy Baker, who came to fix the house we were staying in, and he was the opposite. He was awesome. He'd left Illinois some 25 years ago, and he said he loved Florida for the freedom. He loved open schools, open businesses. DeSantis was against critical race theory in schools. He said he was opposing it, against vaccine passports. And what this guy, Andy Baker, kept pushing was he loved the freedom. He felt that he was free in Florida, and that was really kind of interesting to hear from somebody after being in Illinois, through the pandemic for a year.
And I don't think we're ever going to be free. I mean, yesterday we met the threshold to move to the COVID bridge. That meaning 53% of residents 18 plus have been vaccinated, 50% of residents 16 plus, and 70% of Illinois residents 65 and plus have been vaccinated. So we should technically be starting this 28-day monitoring period. But Governor Pritzker is crickets on this, and he's not having a press conference today where we can ask him, hey, we're supposed to be on the bridge. So how long do you think, and why do you think he's going to keep this going?
Yeah, we're weak on this. He should be being lambasted for it by everybody. And I've heard a few rumblings of some people trying to push back against it, but everything is moving that way. When you look at all the vaccinations that you just rattled off all the right facts. The risk we should be taking is on opening faster, not on staying closed longer. We should be opening faster. The risks are going way down. There's no argument against it other than his politics and whatever else he deems as the worthy cause.
I know how we can get back to openness, and it's just in time. The CARES Act, to the $2 trillion in funding money that Biden and the Democrat Socialists passed, is the key. Of course it is. Thank you, federal government. As soon as every municipal police department has a robot dog with a thermometer, that's when we can get back to normal. Robot dog with a thermometer, it's a steal at $150,000. The police department in Honolulu just purchased that with their COVID cash. And what it will do is mitigate the spread of COVID-19 through touchless field screening and interaction with homeless individuals in self-quarantine. And you know how religiously the homeless self-quarantine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they love to be told what to do, even if you give them free things. Okay.
So $150,000 on that robot dog with a thermometer, 100 new vehicles. They got $16 million in CARES cash. They got to do something with it, Ted. This seems like it would be an ideal project for Wirepoint. Follow the COVID CARES cash and how Illinois spends their largesse.
Well, Dan, you're kind of hitting the big point is this past weekend we did something unusual for Wirepoints. We put out data without any commentary. And what we did is we released it nationally. We grabbed the national data for what every single city, county, and state is going to be getting from the Biden's $350 billion, that part of the $1.9 trillion. And the numbers are fascinating. You're right. And, there's going to be enough money to buy all kinds of robots. You've got cities in Illinois, for example, that are going to get anywhere from 20 to 30 to 50 to over 100% of their annual budget in this latest stimulus package. CPS is going to get some overall 1/3 of at least of their annual budget. There's going to be so much money flowing. They're going to be trying to figure out what to do with it, and they're going to be fighting over the money. And you can bet there's going to be all kinds of new things like the one you just mentioned. For sure.
Well, the CTU is going to want a piece of that pie. They're going to want hazard pay next fall. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, there was this RealClearInvestigations.com piece by Steve Miller giving some state examples, and this is also entertaining because, of course, the hue and cry from the left about the militarization of police, and we're supposed to be defunding police, I thought. And here, just one little municipal police department. I mean, it's not little; it's Honolulu. But in the grand scheme of the nation. So you got your robot dog with a thermometer. That's $150,000. You got 40 all-terrain vehicles, 5 utility terrain vehicles, and 18 utility trailers. That's $626,000. And so, we're defunding police on the front end locally while we're funding them federally.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Although you'll see. I don't know if you saw, but Oak Park rejected. They're all for defunding except for when it's in their backyard, and they rejected it by a 2-to-1 ratio. They rejected that. But hey, just along on this funding stuff that's really important about the federal money, and it's something new. The CARES Act, which gave out, I already forget the numbers now, however many billions of dollars that was largely based on population. This new money that's coming from the stimulus, the $1.9 trillion, that money's being distributed largely not on population, but on all kinds of different formulas. So this is a massive change in how we do things. They're actually printing trillions of dollars and then distributing based on other metrics outside of population. So they're moving the money politically, whether it's through poverty or housing. It's a huge change, and it's going to give lots of areas tons of money that they've never had before. So it'll be interesting to see how they spend it.
I was talking to somebody yesterday who's a Chicago expat, and he was wondering, with all the federal money we're getting, maybe that we would be able to make a significant dent in our unfunded pension liabilities. And it just reminds me, and he's removed from Chicago for 20 years, so he's not paying close attention. But I don't think that's any different than everybody who's in Chicago, just about presently. It's just a reminder about how misinformed or uninformed people are about the scope of the problems. You think the $12 billion the state is getting from the COVID CARES cash, number one, will go to servicing unfunded pension liabilities or servicing the pension funds. Number two, that it's anything but a drop in the bucket.
Well, yeah. So to be clear on the data, so $7.5 billion is what goes to the state proper. 7.5 billion. Our yearly contributions into the pension plan are about $12 billion. So, it's a massive number, $7.5 billion for the state, and yet it's, barely half of the annual contribution we make to pension. So it makes no dent. What it does is it just buys Pritzker a year and a half of time to move money around in the way he wants. But we're right back in this problem, a year and 2 years from now. This just allows every government to hide their problems or paper over them.
Well, that's what's important, is as long as we can push this off through past Pritzker's reelection, because as he's preparing to run for president, he doesn't need to worry about this so much.
Well, that's right. All you got to do is just always get through one more year. There's always another way to finagle your way out through one more year and pass the buck, and that's what we're seeing. So this Biden money, unless they want to print another $2 trillion programs, and then the money dries up, then what? And this is going to be the big issue for Illinois, more so than any other state.
I don't know if you know, Dr. Jill Biden was in Illinois yesterday at Dixon. She wasn't taking any questions. Not a doctor, thank you. Kamala Harris was here. Are they trying to secure campaign funds from Pritzker or something? I don't understand.
Well, it is campaign time, and you're starting to see things come together, and the messaging's going to all start to come out, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But watching the Republicans, none of them are talking about pensions. I think they're all worried about bringing that up. Never mind that it's the biggest problem we have, and if they're smart, they're going to hit COVID because it's been a disaster. But we have to see how it all shakes out.
They're talking about anything. School reopenings, the people under 40 are 0.1% of all COVID-19 deaths in America. Could be talking about schools, could be talking about what we were just talking about with respect to spending and what you at Wirepoints have documented. Could be talking about these regulations, COVID-related regulations being extended in perpetuity as is being proposed in places like Oregon and Michigan. Could be talking about a bunch of stuff. No? Nothing.
Well, I think they will. I think they will hit those things. It's pretty easy to delineate between Pritzker and what he's done and what in theory Republicans would have done differently. But
yeah, you got to just don't rush into it. Wait for around like Labor Day of next year, do it for 60 days, and then be scratching your head when you get your clocks cleaned again by Democrat socialists. Yeah, that's the play. Makes sense. I love Globetrotters and Washington Generals games.
Yeah, no, I think the big thing is, how do we handle? We're being swamped by so many bad policies right now that as a watchdog, Wirepoints, it's impossible. You're watching all this money come in. You've got things like reparations in Evanston. You've got the new bill that they're trying to create a new class of workers they can unionize here in Illinois. It's a fascinating time, and it's moving all so fast. We wrote a piece yesterday about Wheaton trying to do pension obligation bonds, and without getting wonky here, basically, governments can borrow money and kind of trade it on Wall Street, see if they can earn extra money to get the pension plans out of their mess. government's gambling with taxpayer money, and it's all over the place what's going on because of the changes we're seeing, coming, I guess, down the Biden administration all the way down.
All right, since you're ahead of my homework assignments, maybe you haven't gotten to this one yet. It seems to me one of the things that we can do, and we try to do on this show, don't have a lot of examples of it, but we're certainly open-minded to more, is profile maybe local units of government that are functioning quite well, that are moving in the reform direction, sort of like what you were saying with Wheaton. Say this is what could be scaled. These are sort of pies that could be replicated at the local level, scaled to the state level. And one of those places that we've highlighted a few times is Orland Park, and the mayor there. And now he's got control of the village board in terms of people that are supporters of the reform agenda that he launched in his first term. Talking about Keith Pekow, and maybe that's a way to do it rather than just highlighting all of the malfeasance, and that's a lifetime's worth of work to do. Maybe it's, there are other places, even in Illinois, moving in a reform way, and so it's possible to do it. If it can be done in Orland Park, it can be done elsewhere.
No, I think you're right. We should do more of that. Sometimes it's such a small group of people, or so few places that it's hard to bring to life. We tried to do that with a few who lowered property taxes. I can think of the mayor of Lakewood, who lowered property taxes for the city. Didn't have control of the rest of the stuff, like property taxes from school districts and all that. So the eventual taxes on a Lakewood resident went up. But he got so frustrated he left the state. So we got to make sure that we can defend our reformers and keep them here so they don't get chased out. But
the
yeah,
reformers
right.
in Chicago go to the reformers in Chicago go to jail. The actual reformers in the suburbs just leave the state. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so we do have to do more of that, and there's a lot of good stuff that happens in other states, and we have to kind of show those examples too.
He is Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org. Ted, thanks as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're employed in manufacturing or assembly, or want to be, there's a company in the western suburbs that wants to talk to you right now. This is a company that not only employs skilled labor, but appreciates it and values the work you do. This is Greg Raskushka, president of Magna Schultz of America. We're a family-owned company where time with the company is measured not in days or months, but years and decades. Opportunity for advancement is always there, and your hard work is appreciated every day. Our company is growing. We have full-time openings for assembly operators and CNC Swiss machinists. Magna Schultz of America is always considered a high-tech leader in our industry, and we're on a journey to be enduringly great. Be part of our group of curious, gritty team members that take ownership and pride in their work and the company. A place where your problem-solving skills are appreciated.
Here's how to connect. Call 630-789-0600. Magna Schultz of America is hiring right now and wants your skills. 630-789-0600.
NJ Diet offers all of their patients a scientific approach to weight loss with new technology using hair and saliva sampling to customize a weight loss program specifically for you. NJ Diet is one of the only weight loss companies in the country using this technology for weight loss success.